So the key learnings that we did for the last class was one, how to come up with a tone and voice, and how to ensure that you adapt to the different contexts. And then the other key thing was in regards to paragraphing and sentence structure, on how best to ensure these transitions between different ideas. So those are the two key things I can remember.
Thank you. Stephen? Stephen, if you're here.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So on Friday, we also looked at tone of voice in relation to your content, whereby voice is your document's personality and tone is how that voice adapts to the situation. So depending on the audience, the tone can adapt or can adjust. For example, if the audience are users, the tone can be friendly or supportive. If the audience are executives, the tone can be objective and strategic. Or if the audience are engineers, the tone can be precise and unambiguous. Yeah, that's what I can recall from last week.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Stephen. Kathy, would you like to add something on top of that?
Oh, hello everyone. Not really, not really.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, in summary, we managed to cover a very critical thing in regards to tone and voice. We got to see how our voice or tone can be able to change the trajectory of communication, technical communication, and we also emphasized on being clear and precise when communicating any technical concept to an untechnical user. That was very, very significant. Apart from that, there was an assignment that was issued out that was supposed to be done over the weekend, and we're supposed to look into it. I'm not sure if we'll be able to use the first 30 minutes to do a review, but it will be great if we get to that. Margaret had already shared with me her slides, but it will be great if we try and go through what everyone has been able to do. So our presentation will be in order. Robert and Will, I'm not sure if Will, you managed to do it. We were in touch over the weekend.
Yeah, I can send it over in the morning. I didn't know a presentation. You'd like it on slides?
That would be great.
Okay.
No problem. Yes.
Okay. I can just put it on slides. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Robert, don't worry. We'll be in touch in regards to it. I take you through everything. The video was recorded. I was trying to upload it on YouTube from yesterday. I don't know. It's supposed to be a private upload. It's been taking longer than expected to upload. Let me just share my screen here. In the meantime, I think we can start with someone who would like to go first with the presentation, just to take us through what they have been able to do. Yeah, it's taking longer than expected. It's been like this for like 3 hours now, so I'll have to redo this process again, or maybe upload this on Google Drive, and then see how all of you can be able to access. But this all was the best way I could share it out there, so that all of you can be able to review it on your free time. And even today's session is being recorded, so no pressure. So in the meantime, I think it would be in order if we get to the presentation session, and then I'll also take you through a few PRDs that I have. I'll share them also as a link. So who would like to go first to the presentation? Stephanie? Hope you won't mind.
Unfortunately, I didn't manage to complete it, so if somebody else can go.
Okay, who is ready? Kathy? Or maybe Margaret, because they already shared with me. Margaret had told me she's not feeling so well. I'm not sure if she's in a space to do a presentation. Margaret? Okay, since Margaret is a little bit far from us, Kathy, Stephen, any of you who is ready? Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Can I have like a minute? I set up the sharing.
Sure, no worries.
Okay.
Yep. Super. Stephen, what about you?
My computer is having network issue. I'm trying to reconnect,
Okay.
but I can share my. Yeah.
Okay. Kathy, I think you started out. In the meantime, let me take you through a few PRDs that I have with me. So there's one for earpods. It's a PRD. I think it's not a burden, but I would like. I'm not sure if any of you has been able to go through this. So this document outlines the requirements for Apple's next generation earpods product. It specifies objectives such as improved customization, fit, design, and audio quality. It also has some key requirements here that you can be able to review, but let's try and just look through it. It's quite a document. I would like I would like you all to look into it later. So I'll share the link to this PRD. The main reason why I loved it is it's very comprehensive and quality, and there's some just uniqueness to it in regards to how it's tailored. So so this is the product requirement document for this earpods product for Apple, which is a next generation earpods product. So Apple's first generation earpods were among the first truly wireless in ear headphones, and generated phenomenal demand, with sales units exceeding 16 million in just the first year after launch. Customer satisfaction surveys have reported a great need among users to personalize their product and improve the in-ear fit and audio quality. So users also express a desire for more compact earbuds with shorter microphone extensions. Observational studies show an opportunity to expand upon and improve touch interactions and the need for enhanced sound quality. So these will be backed by technological developments such as the H1 wireless and connectivity chip, and also there's a Cypress CY8C4. So basically, this contains the introduction bit to the Apple's first generation earpods, and it gets to explain everything around it, especially the customer bit. and some of the reasons why the users were finding it, rather expressing a lot of desire to have it. So let's look at the objectives here. So this project aims to investigate and develop smart adaptive technologies, an improved user experience, better fit, improved product design, and product customization options for the next generation earbuds. The target is to maintain global dominance in the wireless earphone market, drive up earpod sales to 100 million plus units, sold with 60% global market share in 2021, and expand the user base more towards the luxury, professional, and fitness segments. We believe that adding smart interactions and adaptive audio filters alone will already expand our user base by 15%. So with the new generation earpods, we aim to match at least the sound quality of our main competitor, that is Sony WF 100X, and that's just the actual brand, and include active noise cancelling that is also featured in Mi4, House of Mali, Bose, and Amazon Echo products. We'll also obtain IPX4 sweat resistant rating equal to Bose, House of Mali, and Amazon Echo earbuds, and just aim to extend our range of colors as seen in Urbanista. And so just the objective bit of it, and there's now the stakeholders bit here where they get to focus on the target group. Basically, in this case, they're trying to focus on high income upper class professionals between the age of 20 and 45, and their personalities are determined and ambitious. So the main benefits sought are recreation and self-expression. Then the target purchaser, here they're trying to focus on the target group profile with special attention to fullness 1 and fullness 2 mothers. And then down here we have the customer service. So prefers easy to repair, recyclable. There's a challenge here. There's an ad, so it's supposed to be a paid one. I'll see if I can be able to gain access to this document. So prefers easy to repair, recyclable product, and easy to fix complaints to fit with Apple's intuitive user experience. Then marketing and sales division looks for unique selling points around the Apple Aspire Explorer lifestyle and user experience. Then there's the senior management bit, retailers, regulatory instances, then the use cases. So it contains various kinds of use cases, and you realize there are quite a number of user stories here. For example, the first one is user story of a guy called Jenna, who is an old executive who regularly visits a bar for lunch to blow off some steam. Then they realize that the bar is often loud with people, but it is paramount that she can hold business conversations over the phone there. Then again, she does not want to miss out on the atmosphere and be able to hear the waiters as well. So her new Apple wireless earphone allow her to switch instantly between a mode where she can fully focus on the phone conversation and a mode where the phone call and environmental sound are seamlessly combined. They also allow her to rapidly adjust the volume on the earbuds themselves without having to take out her phone. And Jenna occasionally visits the bar in the evenings. She is a big fan of the LA Lakers, and whenever they play, she streams the live footage through her phone. Her new earbuds allow her to easily switch to hearing everything around her and streaming the match commentary without having to ever take the earbuds out. She sometimes gets compliments on how stylish the earbuds look on her, and she wouldn't want to miss out on hearing those either. So that is the first user story, and that is for Janet. And the second one is for William. And in this scenario, William is a 6'7", 26-year-old professional sprinter who trains every single day. His ears, just a second. Sorry about that. So his ears are sizable, and while he occasionally enjoys music to get him into the athletic spirit, he hasn't been able to find earbuds that do not fall out while working out. What's more, his profuse sweating makes most silicone ear tips slippery and impaired sound quality on most devices. He's excited that the new Apple earbud offer a custom fit, so he has decided to have his personal shopper appear by them. In the store, they could even engrave his initials and his signature flame symbol for an additional fee, because William understands that with the vigorous exercises that he has, any type of earbud may fall out at some point. So he can also track his earbuds to the location where they were last connected to his phone via the Find My app. William loves his new earbuds, and as brand loyal as he is, from now on he will buy his personal electronics, only from Apple. So that's the second user story for William. Then we also have another one for Keith. These are three unique user stories. So for this one, Keith is a 45-year-old self-made man. He has set up 3 companies, including a local restaurant chain specialized in vegan food that are now thriving, but they also require him to be on the road often. So Keith has an obsession for vintage cars, and he likes to drive around in his red 1957 Chevrolet Corvette that's a convertible. So as the car is preserved in its original condition, it doesn't have a modern entertainment system. Kate's wife, Jennifer, bought him the earphones as his Christmas gift, so he can now listen to music from his phone in the car. So Kate likes the noise cancelling feature, especially because he can now reduce the sound of the wind when the roof is down. But he appreciates... Okay, this is getting out of my nerves now. But he appreciates the option that he can turn the feature off as well to be aware of the traffic. As a businessman, Kate also often takes advantage of Siri to send messages and schedule meetings in the car. With his new earbuds, he can access Siri directly, which allows him to focus on driving. So now that we've been able to look at the 3 user stories for Keith, Jenna, and William, the product design aspect is what comes up first. So the new product design based on those user stories will be based on of the earbuds will be based on that of the earbuds with improvement based on the following requirements. One, we have the product shall be visually easy to distinguish from existing earpods as well as main competitors, like that is Sony, Jabra Elite, Amazon Echo Buds, Samsung Galaxy Buds, and Bose Sound Spot Free, and also we have a Banista Stockholm here. Then the product shall be easy to recognize as an Apple product without needing a logo on its exterior. The product shall avoid styling elements from our Powerbeats over ear wireless headphones. So this key product design requirements here, they are tailored majorly to solve all the challenges that the 3 users have, and also just to ensure that its improvement is a little bit more scalable and gets to fit almost to a large number of people. So the product shall be as small as possible. The 2 earbuds shall be an exact mirror image of one another. Cutouts, details, indents, and holes shall be oval or circular wherever possible. Quite a number. The other thing is too much now, so I think I'll just try to move over it over through. So we have the product design aspect, then we have the functionality based on the product design and the user stories, and then here we have the interactivity bit of it. Then we have the adaptive intelligence. Alright, so basically when it comes to the adaptive intelligence, we're trying to figure out, rather look at the uniqueness that has been put into consideration. For example, here the product shall incorporate active noise cancellation technology. The product shall offer a mode where the environment can be heard along with the audio played by the earbuds. The product shall adapt the audio experience when the user is wearing only one of the earbuds. Then upon detecting the user switching their attention to a different device, the product shall automatically switch to that device's audio output. The product shall tune the audio experience to the shape of the wearer's ear. Then there's the customization bit here, and then the manufacturing bit. regulations are all here based on how the product will fit with will fit with everything. And then there's some open questions and some milestones there, and that is it. So don't worry about that. So these are just some designs based on how it's been changing out through. And then here we have the explanation of terms, where we have everything like ALT, that is accelerated live test, EMI, electromagnetic interference, EQ, classic audio equalizer, FOB, that is free on board. So most of these abbreviations also get to show you how important it is to focus more on explaining everything without leaving anything off. So that is it for this. But I would really like to share this out with all of you so that you can be able to look into. Though this document is on Scribe and it's a pro, but it really is important to go through, especially if you're a product manager. So you can look it up online, or maybe just let me send you this this link on the side chat for you to look into it, or maybe email can do, right? Let me send it here. Okay, my chat is offline. I'm finding it hard to send it there. I'll share it on the email. I don't know why I'm not able to send it on the side chat. Okay, are we good? I don't know, I'm struggling here. Okay. Okay, let me see if I can. Yeah, thank you, Will. I can see you sent it on the side sheet. Since my system was hanging over here. Kathy, are you good now?
Yes.
Okay. Before you present, I wanted to hear your perspective on the PRD, especially Stephanie. Stephanie, how do you find that PRD?
I like the bit for the functionality as well as the product design. It's quite straightforward on what exactly is required to be developed, as well as the key features that are needed. So I'd say it's straight to the point. The objectives, I'm not so sure. I felt like it was a bit wordy. Maybe it could have been better in bullet form. But then overall, the project speaks to what is required to be developed.
Okay. Okay, no worries. We'll be reviewing more of them, and we'll get to see and spot most of these differences with time, and also get to create our own PRDs and technical documents. So I think that will be in order. Kathy, hope you won't mind. Kathy, you can take it up.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
What's going on?
I hope. Am I clear?
Yes, you are.
Okay. I think I had a challenge with finding the right documentation because with Docker, I noticed they have videos and their guides are normally like in separated parts. Yeah, so there was one I found and it looks like that. So this one did not have like a conclusion. So I calibrated mine because the conclusion was it was just like a brief statement because you see it's in parts. Yeah. So on the introduction, the explaining this one is the original one from this one is the original one from their site. And I felt like for someone who is coming from an untechnical background, it could be a bit complex for them to understand. And I try to include, why will someone want to use Docker or to actually better understand it. And I came up with this one. Should I read it or? Yeah, so from the original one and then the improved one.
Would you take us through it in detail so that we get to see how you went through the thought process?
Okay. So the original one is Docker is an open platform for developing, shipping, and running applications. Docker enables you to separate your applications from your infrastructure so you can deliver software quickly. And with Docker, you can manage your infrastructure in the same ways you manage your applications by taking advantage of Docker's methodologies for shipping, testing, and deploying code. You can significantly reduce the daily between writing code and running it in production. So I felt like it was targeted towards someone who is already working with the apps and they're looking maybe for an easier option. And so maybe for someone who wanted to from way back, we could have like this one which is improved. So the evolution of technology came with the development of e-commerce websites. So a personal computer was not powerful enough for the scaling process with the users. Having servers was a better option because of scaling. So we moved from if the users wanted to access your e-commerce website, they could access it from your computer or laptop. But at the end of the day, the laptop will not be powerful enough to be able to scale. And so the introduction of servers came in, and the servers also. So having servers was a better option because of the scaling. So the servers also had drawbacks when it came to dependency and lack of isolation. And there are so many things, but I felt like if I could have added them, it could be a long introduction. So that's why I picked when it came to dependency and lack of isolation. And this led to virtualization, where the servers were split into virtual servers. So after the servers, which also had drawbacks, we came into the virtual servers. So we are transitioning into better options. So this also had drawbacks and it started being slow. And there was also poor development / test or product parity. And containerization or Docker containers are now introduced. So this offers a lightweight, isolated process running on a shared operating system kernel with code, libraries, environment variables, and configuration files. So I think at this point, we are now, merging with what we have. the Docker is an open platform for developing, shipping, and running applications. And to build, ship, and run containers, a container runtime engine is installed on the host's operating system, irrespective of the version. So this can be a containerization engine or a Docker engine. So that's where we now introduce, so it all came down to the Docker engine. And with Docker containers, a Docker file is started, a container image is then built, and then it can be used across the different environments that was mentioned here. So I think maybe I went into more detail to explain it further. And then in the conclusion, I just imagine, maybe the in between the body of the whole documentation was about the architecture. So I concluded that learning about Docker and how its operating system is virtualized changes how developers build and deliver software. The drawbacks of traditional softwares and virtualization have led to containerization, which has made it possible to create applications that are consistent, portable, and efficient. This is regardless of the environment they run in. And also another one, a sure way to learn Docker is by start with a Docker file, build an image, and then run a container. Yeah, my assignment was to write an introduction and a conclusion of a user guide. That's all.
Thank you, Kathy. Don't stop sharing your screen, kindly. I'd like to get 3 feedbacks from 3 people, and I would like to start with Robert. Robert, your feedback, kindly.
Okay, hello everyone. With this one, this is more technical. If someone reads about Docker, if he or she doesn't know anything about tech, Docker, it will be this will be like it will be another vocabulary, if I can say. But for someone who is in tech, he or she will understand very well what is Docker, how is it being how the application are being deployed in Docker, and what kind of environment is this. Yeah, so for me, for a technical guy, this is a good documentation. If someone wants to understand more about Docker, he can learn a lot from this. Yeah.
Thank you, Robert. Will?
I like the conclusion, active voice in the conclusion. Yes, there's a lot of technical understanding here, which is good. The intro could have done a couple of paragraphs, a bit more active voice. The conclusion definitely just tells you what you need to learn.
Thank you, Will. Margaret?
Hi everyone.
Hi.
So I'll say it's more technical, but very clear.
Thank you. Those are 3 people. Good. So, a few questions, Kathy. What was your problem statement? Or let's start from what was the objective?
I felt like I wanted to explain Docker to someone who is not into tech. So that was what I was targeting. because I felt it was hard for them, for someone who's not in tech to just get the concept with the original introduction.
Okay, thank you. And what are some of the words that you came about that were technical and you found them very hard to translate to any other simple terms?
Okay, when I was writing it, they were not really, the technical words are not really there, but I think the whole understanding of what Docker is. Sorry. Are you okay? Sorry.
Okay, sorry, Kathy. No worries. So basically, I was.
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay, cool.
My apologies.
You know worries.
Yeah, so I never came across any technical words, but just the whole concept of what Docker is. I think that was the hardest part for me.
Thank you. Because you were interacting with Docker for the first time, you
Yeah.
never knew what Docker was, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so in as much as you were not able to identify any technical terms that were a little bit off in terms of translating them into a much more simpler way or trying to explain them out clearly in a much more simpler way, just having the glossary of terms would have been great, just to at least get to remind the non-technical audience, or rather reader, what some of this maybe terminology will look like. But again, most of the things here are very clear based on how we've been able to go through, and they're structured in a very simple way. Yeah, and then that flow is very important, just trying to create an element of there's also the bit of analogy sometimes really plays a very big role in trying to help someone get to understand a simple concept. And I always see this a lot when it comes to or rather I always try to use this concept a lot when you try to explain about APIs. Most of the time non-technical people find it very hard to really understand what an API is until you bring the analogy of a restaurant. You as a customer going to have a meal there, then you realize that you have to make an order. Someone comes, a waiter, or comes, gets your order, has to go to the chef to get the meal. So just getting to understand the concept of an API, where an API is basically more of a connector. It connects both the front end and the back end. So now the waiter gets to do that, connects you with the chef, then you get to have your order, or rather your meal. So sometimes analogies really do play a big role in trying to explain something to a non-technical person, but mostly that works a lot, mostly on the ground. You see, when you're having an oral communication with someone, a lot of things really tend to sound so clear, and you're always able to know whether your audience is really getting what you're trying to share or not. The writing bit is also very interesting, just trying to make sure that you get everything clear. But then in writing, you can't assume anything as compared to when you're having a one-on-one with your audience. in writing, you at least have to, first of all, be very clear about who your audience is. Once you have that clearly, now it's easy to get into the nitty gritties of trying to explain the concept out. And just most scenarios don't leave any stone unturned. Just try to make sure at least everything is clear. And this is now where things to do with visuals also come to play a very big role in. Most non-technical users, or rather non-technical audience, love what they see most of the time. They're very visual oriented, and coming up with visuals, trying to explain something also tends to really help a lot. And getting to have the analogies in a very clear and unique way also really is important. But this is cool. Just trying to, top out a little bit with a few key things that might also be helpful in future. But so far so good. This is great, Kathy. Awesome. And thank you. So now with that, I think it will be in order if we now get to today's session. Margaret, before we do that, would you like to do your presentation?
I can.
Kindly.
So,
Okay, no worries. You can take it up if you won't mind. Yes, Margaret.
you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen, though you haven't started sharing. Good. Awesome.
Okay. So good evening all. My assignment was on writing a summary of recent technical meeting, focusing on translating complex discussions into understandable language while maintaining accuracy. So that being the assignment, so my goal in this task was to take a discussion that involved technical systems and translate it into a clear and very understandable, in an understandable language for audience which has no technical background. And in my case, I have the academic coordination or coordinators and administrative team for an institute based on the fact that that is my work setup at the moment. So I tried to follow a clear technical.
Margaret,
Yes.
kindly click the hide button there.
Oh, okay, it's distracting. Sorry.
Okay.
So I tried to have a clear technical writing checklist as we discussed in the previous session, which was including the audience. So as I've said, my audience was the academic coordinators and administrative teams who have no technical background. In this presentation, I tried to be a bit professional and used an informative tone while writing in active voice throughout the document. I also try to be very clear by using very short paragraphs and being simple when it comes to the explanation part of the technical process. So The summary is a technical meeting about integrating a CRM, that is a customer relationship management system, with a learning management system to automate the student enrollment. So the overview, the purpose of a recent technical briefing was to address the inefficiencies inherent in our current manual student enrollment workflow. To optimize the operational productivity, the institution will transition to a fully automated data synchronization model. So this system will bridge our Bitrix 24. So Bitrix 24 is the customer relationship management platform that we have to synchronize or bridge with the learning management system as the LMS to ensure that student data flows seamlessly from the initial point of inquiry to active course enrollment without any manual intervention. So currently the staff enter student information separately into our CRM, which is Bitrix 24 and the learning management system. So this process takes time and it increases the risk of typing errors. And the new integration replaces this with three-stage automated pipeline. So for the workflow, we'll have three automated pipeline. And the first stage will be lead generation. So we'll have potential students submitting their details via the institutional website. So we'll automate the manual enrollment of the student by having a potential lead from the institution website. And this information will be captured immediately by the CRM, which is Bitrix 24, creating a digital lead profile. So once we have the CRM integration, the LMS will be synchronized. And once the lead is verified, the system triggers an automatic data transfer. So the student profile is created in the LMS and they are enrolled in their respective courses instantly. Once we implement this synchronization, the institution will achieve greater precision in academic records and will have the key benefits, which include reduced manual work, where staff no longer have to enter the same information twice. We'll have improved data accuracy, where the automated transfer will reduce typing mistakes and duplicate records. We'll also have faster student access, where students will receive LMS login details immediately after the enrollment. And this will also help the staff to focus more on student support rather than filling the student details into the LMS manually. So it will have a better use of staff time for other valuable work. So all these will have a technical solution to prevent duplicate student accounts, as the system will use the passport number as a unique identifier for each student. So once we have this collected from the website, integrated to the CRM, and these will be verified, and automatically the data will be transferred to the LMS. So they'll use a specific unique identifier, which is the student's passport number, as currently we deal with international students. So the unique identifier will be their passport number. And this ensures that every student record is consistent across both systems. So once we have that in order, the team agreed on the following actions to complete the implementation. We'll have the system testing, where the admission team will have to run 10 test enrollments to verify the system synchronization, and later have a 15-minute demonstration, which will be conducted on a Wednesday at 10 a.m. to show how the new workflow will operate. Then the technical team will have to monitor the first 5 enrollments to quickly resolve any issue, if there'll be any. So once we have that in place, then it will be implemented, the system will be implemented, and it will be in place. So my conclusion will be the integration between Bitrix 24, which is the CRM, and the LMS, Learning Management System, will streamline the enrollment process and improve the operational efficiency. By automating the student data transfer, the institute will reduce the errors, speed up account creation, and provide students with faster access to their learning platform. So I'll say these demonstrate how a technical writer translates the technical discussion into a very clear, structured information. So basically, this was just a summary of whatever was discussed, and the target audience was the non-technical. So I believe it was kind of informative. It was clear, and I think I avoided any unnecessary jargon. So that made it very clear to everyone. That was it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Margaret. Loved it. Let's get a few reviews from three people. Let's start with Stephanie. Then we'll get to Kathy and finish up with Stephen. Stephen, you haven't spoken, so yes. Stephanie, kindly.
I like the fact that the points are in point form, so it's easy to peruse through the document and see the points that are important. And I like the need for the key benefits, because at the end of the day, you'd like to know the metrics for success. So with the key benefits, you should be able to get this data from there. Then you can go maybe to page 4. So at a glance, you can see the different activities that are involved with this implementation. As you can see that she's highlighted when the testing will be done, training and monitoring. So that means she has the key details to ensure that the product is a success. So the document is actually straightforward in regards to what is required to be done.
Thank you, Stephanie. What do you think she has not been able to implement that you could have? Stephanie.
Maybe you can go to page 2. The next one, the next page after that. Maybe the how bit. How is this in regards to the technical solution? If you could have more details in regards to how the implementation is supposed to be done. So this is mainly to guide the developers.
Thank you. Any other? Any other things, Stephanie?
No.
Thank you. Stephen?
I'm sorry, but I wasn't around when she was present.
It's okay, no worries. Let's get to Kathy. Kathy, please.
Okay, can I please see like page 1?
Big Philip, today is your due. With Master here, no one can harm Uncle Hua.
Oh, yeah, because for someone who wasn't in the meeting, I feel like I could have gathered so much information from all those slides, and I like the flow, especially the introduction and also what was being solved in the meeting. So I think for someone who was not there, they can be able to get the point and they can be able to know the way forward.
Who told you to harm Uncle Guap?
Yeah, that's my feedback.
Yes, well, thank you, Katha.
Margaret, did you actually discuss the benefits in the meeting? That's like,
Did someone say something?
yeah. Did you actually discuss benefits in the meeting? The third slide.
So the key benefits.
Yes.
You want me to discuss the same?
No. Was this a discussion point in the technical meeting?
Yeah, it was. So this was the main reason why we will have the new enrollment workflow.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, do you have another question or you're good now? So, good work, Margaret. Love the clarity bit on the presentation. Also love how precise it is. When you go to the first, don't end the call yet. The first slide, not, just go to the first slide up there where we have assignment, translating technical information
Did
for.
something happen with the meeting? Can you guys hear me?
Oh, sorry, I was speaking to myself on mute.
Okay.
Good work on the presentation. I love the clarity bit of it. I was actually asking about the first slide, where we have translating technical information for non-technical professionals up there. How would you be able to hook your audience on the first slide? I mean, I believe that is where we were supposed to have the title of your presentation, right?
Yeah.
Before you jump into the actual, so the CRM and LMS integration for student enrollment, I believe that was supposed to be on
the overview part?
Yes, unless otherwise.
Okay.
And then the overview bit. So the overview bit just gets to picture out the purpose of this whole presentation, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. And now you get into the nitty-gritties of now the workflow, the new enrollment workflow, which is okay. The benefits are clear. Loved it. And the next steps, I mean, if there's something I've loved about the next steps is the accuracy bit, just getting to ensure that you're able to key in the data. The admission test team will run 10 test enrollments to verify the system synchronization. That is great. Staff training, a 15-minute demonstration will be conducted on Wednesday at 10 a.m. To show staff how the new workflow operates. Then in the monitoring bit, you talked about the technical team will monitor the first 5 enrollments to quickly resolve any issues. Beautiful. That aspect of clarity there is top notch, and I love every bit of it. So good work.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So that leaves us with yes, Steven.
I could not present on my laptop, but I have shared a link to my Notify
You've
Notion account.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, we shall.
on your email.
Okay, super. Looking into it
Yeah.
later. I'll reach out. Right.
Okay.
Good. So I bet we've spent the first one focusing on the presentation and a few key things that are very important. So it's always important, or rather, it's key to get to see how the progress looks out. Let's jump into to this presentation, or to this session. I'm trying to access my YouTube. Have you guys been able to receive the email to the YouTube video? Because I've seen mine. I don't know if you guys have received it. Okay, okay. And are you able to access the video? Okay. So let's look at module 3. Now this is in regards to information architecture and content planning. Up to this juncture, we have been able to see how effective clarity is, and also we've been able to see how important it is to have a specific voice tone to your work that speaks out to your audience very clearly. But with all that, it's also very important to ensure that you perfectly come up with a proper way of planning your work. So that aspect of architecture really is important, and that's what I would like us to look at today: information architecture and content planning. So the module objectives, one is by the end of this module you'll be able to organize complex technical content in a clear and logical way. Two, you'll be able to plan and structure documentation that's easy to use and navigate. We'll be able to use techniques like modular writing, TOCs, and user journeys to create scalable doc systems. And then we'll also be able to build a strong foundation before writing any document. So module 3 will encompass quite a number of practical work, because there's a lot to be done here to ensure that you've been able to master the art of content planning and just information architecture. And also you can be able to come up with proper user journeys and see how you can effectively create scalable system documentation systems. So whether you're writing a user manual, whether you're designing a product wiki, or documenting an API, you realize that information architecture and content planning are the invisible glue that holds everything together, right? So first of all, what exactly is information architecture? Information architecture is about how you organize, structure, and label content so users can find what they need quickly and easily. So try and think of it like the blueprint for a house. Most of the time you don't start building walls before deciding where the rooms, doors, and windows should go. So why does it matter to have a good information architecture? Information architecture helps in building clarity, usability, and scalability. But a bad information architecture causes a lot of confusion, frustration, and high support costs. So there's a brain teaser here, and one thing I love about brain teasers is they help you to think through details and scenarios that you've been able to experience, and see how you can effectively think through them differently. So this one is about a simple application. So you're documenting a simple app that does one thing: tells the time. But users in different time zones see different results. How would you structure the doc so each user knows how to get exactly what they need? So this is just a scenario that all of you definitely have to be familiar with or might be familiar with. So imagine you're documenting a simple application that does one thing, and that is tells the time. But users in different time zones see different results. How would you structure the doc so that each user knows how to get exactly what they actually need? How would you effectively go about this? That's the question. Simon? You can just try to highlight how you will go about structuring your documentation to ensure that all the users in different time zones are satisfied in as much as they'll be getting different results. Well,
Try, just clarify. Say users in different time zones see different results. It results from the app, the results of the documentation. That's the part I'm struggling.
oh, okay. So your work is to document a simple application that does one thing, tells the time, right? So you're documenting, you're not building the application. The application has already been built. But now these users who are in different time zones see different results. So how would you structure the doc so that each user knows how to get exactly what they need?
I think I'd have, let me give it a try. I'd have an overview of what the app does, then I'd break it off into a section. So for maybe it could be, I'm just guessing here. If it's language, I would say, if you're familiar or you read Spanish, there's a section which is here. Just right off the bat so that if you're in different time zones, you can adapt to your language. That would be one way. Yeah, that's all
Okay,
of it.
okay. Thank you. Um, Robert, how would you go about that?
Okay. The first thing is to explain or to give an overview of what this app, how this app works. For instance, you can give the overview like this app, it displays the time, but the time shown, it depends on the time zone selected or detected by the system. So by giving this overview, number one, the reader will understand that yes, this app, it shows or it displays the current time, but this time, it depends on the time zone selected or detected. So that is the overview. Then I'll create a section whereby I'll indicate the different time zone that we have, so that the reader will understand that if I'm in this time zone, uh, I'm supposed to have, or the app should display this time. Yes, that is how I would have a document.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Robert. Um, Stephanie? So remember, users here are receiving different results because time depends on the time zone configuration, right? So the documentation must isolate the variable causing the difference. So basically, when you're going about it, it means you have to, look at the task-based and the conditional sections by the time zone. So when you look at the structure, first of all, the overview bit, you have to try and explain what the app does, right? For example, displays the current time. Time shown depends on the user's configured time zone. And then look at now how the app determines time, right? So that means you have to explain the mechanism, right, around that. For example, you can say users device system time, user selected time zone, or maybe converts time using the UTC offset, just to get the users to know or rather understand what's actually going on. So what you're trying to do is just come up with a documentation to guide them on how they are supposed to set up, their time. So in setting your time zone, basically the primary user task is to focus on maybe opening settings, select time zone, choose a specific region where they are located, and just save the changes, right? So that means that the app will recalculate the time using the selected time zone. And you can also try to maybe picture out examples of various regions with various kinds of time zones, just to provide some predictable outputs. And you can do that in a visual format just to make them see how that looks like. And also there's the troubleshooting part, just to help them to effectively identify the common problem, which definitely could be incorrect timing. And these could be caused by, a lot of things. Could be maybe network time disabled, or maybe manual time zone override, you never know, or maybe device time zone is incorrect. So you have to try and see how you can be able to fix those steps in a listed format, right? So ideally, you're supposed to think through the user's logic and see how you can be able to effectively come up with a proper way of structuring the documentation that fits with them. Are we good?
I have a question.
Yes.
Is that how you've explained it?
Yeah.
Is that a function of the structure or the key information that should be in the documentation?
So what I've tried to explain is basically a flow, a logic process through how you can go about it, to ensure that at least you get to capture all the details without missing out on any of the steps. How would you like to go about it? Well,
No, I hear you. I'm just trying to figure out, because that feels like the overview section. Like this app tells time, and if it doesn't tell the correct time, look at this setting on your device or something. If you're having troubleshoot would be the next section. Or maybe I'm overthinking this. Thinking about a long documentation. It feels like this is part of the key information that you should put in your overview, for example.
okay. So if we have to go about just troubleshoot, okay, just to solving the problem, we don't have to go about coming up with the whole structure of the documentation. That means we have to just focus on answering the problem, trying to tackle the problem head on and focus just on troubleshooting. That basically means the documentation should focus more on targeting how you should be able to solve the problem. For example, now in terms of time, the documentation should focus on this is what you're supposed to do to be able to properly set your application to fit with your own time zone. But when you're talking about now structure, trying to structure the documentation, it means we have to start from the ground up. Unless there's something that you feel we should look at differently, Will.
No, just keep going. I understand your point of view. Thanks.
Pardon? Are you good?
Yes.
Okay. Stephanie, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Give us your perspective on that.
I would indicate on the document. Is it in regards to the brain teaser?
Yeah, the brain teaser. But again, with what I've tried to picture out.
So I would indicate on the document the time zone that the author is in. So if it's in Kenya, I would indicate that it's in maybe EAT. So the person can be able to convert it into their local time. So with that, they can be able to know if the document is up to date or if they should wait for a longer period to get the information that they need. So that's how it's structured.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So basically, that is it. When it comes to coming up, or rather, building up your documentation, you need to also be as clear on what you're supposed to do as possible. If you are trying to focus on solving the actual problem that your users are actually experiencing, that is different, a different scenario. And I believe when you look at almost all websites, they have the FAQs, and they're very direct to the point. If you're facing an issue logging in, do this. If you're facing an issue, maybe accessing ABCD, do this and that. You see that those are very direct forward. But now when it comes to documentation, or rather a documentation structure, it's very effective to picture out every user and try to build everything from the ground up, unless the structure already exists, but then there's something that has to be changed in between the documentation. Now that you don't really have to think through changing everything all over again. You just have to focus entirely just on that one section, but ensure that everything is consistent enough. And you'll see this also with various kinds of technologies that are being updated every single day. I work with Django, so most of the time they do have these updates that they do almost every single time. But then they don't change the whole documentation, they just change specific kinds of features that they are adding on the documentation. And also other tools, that tend to experience different improvements. You realize that they focus more on that specific feature that they have been able to add, and that is what they entirely focus on talking about in the documentation. But then that aspect of consistency is there all through the whole documentation. But that is how you think through it in a clear way. I hope we are good up to this point. Let's try to look at topic-based authoring. So what is topic-based authoring? You realize that topic-based authoring breaks content into small, focused, and reusable chunks called topics, right? So we have different types of topics. We have a concept, which explains what something is or why it matters. Then we have task, which is a step-by-step guide to doing something. Then we have reference. So when it comes to reference, these are technical details like APIs or parameters, right? Then we have benefits. So when it comes to benefits, we have easier updates, content reuse, clear separation of concerns. Someone might ask you, what is the significance of the topic-based authoring? Why is it important, right? In as much as we have to break down our topics in a way that it's clear to look into. Why is it significant? Steven, why do you think this is important?
Because it helps in breaking down the content, so it's easier to digest, and you can understand it easier
Mm-hmm.
as the user.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. And you realize that by breaking them down, we are trying to also focus on specific kinds of sections that have almost or rather picture out different kind of scenarios but in a more consistent way. For example, when we talk about concepts, which explains what something is or why it matters, then we look at task, which is a step-by-step guide to doing something. Then here we have reference, which is definitely pictures out technical details like APIs or parameters. And then now we have laid down benefits like it's easier updates, content reuse, and also clear separation of concerns. So a simple brain teaser here. Imagine you are writing docs for a cooking robot. It can boil, it can fry, it can bake, and even blend. So how would you divide your content into concept, task, and reference topics to help a new user cook their first meal? How would you go about dividing your content into concept, task, and reference topics to help a new user cook their meal first? So you're trying to write documentation for a cooking robot. It can boil, it can fry, it can bake, and even blend. So how would you divide your content into concept, task, and reference topics to help a new user cook their first meal? So already here we have the audience who is the cooking robot, and now we are trying to see how we can be able to divide our content into those specific segments, concept, task, and reference topics to help this new user cook their first meal. So someone who would like to give it a shot?
I can try.
Okay, please.
So the concept, I would explain what a robot is,
Mm-hmm.
what a cooking robot is, and why we need a cooking robot. And then after that, you can explain the task that the robot does, such as boiling, frying, baking, and blending. And you can also give a step-by-step guide on how it can perform these tasks. And then the reference, you can outline the technical details of the robots, such as maybe the prompts that the robot needs to perform the tasks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how I would frame it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Margaret, how would you go about this?
Um, I'll just give it a try.
Mm-hmm.
So on the concept,
Mm-hmm.
since we're explaining the idea, I can talk about what the cooking robot is and what it does,
Okay.
and maybe try to explain some of these cooking modes that we've got.
Okay.
Then on the task, since this will show how to do it, we can have it on how to set up the robot. We can have how to, let's say, cook the first meal. We can have how to clean the robot maybe after cooking. And for the reference part of it, I might say maybe giving the temperature limits and maybe whatever errors that might occur. So these are the areas that I would major on.
Awesome. Okay. Good. I love how you've been able to segment every bit and try to picture out picture them out from your own perspective. That is good. So I believe that will be helpful. Let's look at content outlines where we have. Let's look at content outlines, TOC design, and modular docs. Content outlines, TOC design, and modular docs. So first of all, step one, create a content outline. So you have to be able to first of all list all your content in logical order before writing anything. So that means you have to think through everything you like to write, but in a logical order, and then now build up from there. So step one, create a content outline. Then in step two, you need to build a table of contents. That is why we call it. That is what we call TOC in abbreviation. So how do you get to go about building your table of content? First of all, you need to make sure that it's clear and structured navigation. So it could look as it could look like something of this sort. First of all, the getting started option, then you get to the introduction bit, and possibly maybe install the SDK. So this is for API or a specific product, but then you're trying to install the SDK here. Then now you look at the authentication bit where we have the API keys, then the authentication bits. Now this is like version 2 here. Then now how you get to make requests. Under making requests, we're looking at sample requests, handling errors. So when you look at this structure, it's very detailed in terms of how it will look like on a table of content. So you're able to know how or what to expect when you focus on, or rather when you get to the getting started option, where you'll see the introduction, then now install the SDK. Then after installing the SDK, you expect now to get to the authentication bit. Basically, it means maybe you're trying to access it. So to get there, you need to access the API keys, which definitely means you have to be authenticated, and then make your request. Through making a request, you have to do a sample request, then get to handle the errors that might arise when doing that sample request. So this structure navigation helps you to understand, or rather helps you to see how easily it is to create a table of contents. But then that aspect of logic really is important, and getting to know what comes after what also is very key. Step 3, try to think in a modular way. It's very important to use reusable content chunks across guides, across wikis, and even help centers, right? So coming up with these guides, with different kinds of reusable content helps you to see, or rather figure out how you can effectively structure everything out. There's a brain teaser here. Imagine you've written 5 guides that all begin with the same two steps, should you duplicate the steps in each guide or modularize them into one shared section, and why? Imagine you've written 5 guides that all begin with the same 2 steps. Should you duplicate the steps in each guide or modularize them into one shared section, and why? Salman? Do you think it's effective to duplicate the steps in each guide or modularize them into one shared section, and why should you do that if at all you have to?
I'll try. Okay, this is according to me.
Okay.
When you have when you're writing a guide and all begin with the same 2 steps, to me, I would choose to modularize the step into one shared section instead of duplicating them, because this one, it brings consistency across the document, and also it is easy for, let's say, if there is an update, you can only change that modularized shared section instead of changing or updating the entire document or guides. So to this, if you just maintain a shared section, you modularize that part. So if there is a change, you only change that part. Yeah. So for me, I would go with the modularizing the steps into one shared section.
Okay. Thank you. Kathy, how would you go about this?
Oh, I wasn't sure about the modularizing part, but I think the way Robert has explained it, it makes sense to have that consistency across the 5 guides.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't get the meaning of modularize or the concept of it here?
Yeah, I was conflicted because I was thinking maybe the 5 guides are a bit different, the content that they have, but with the way he has explained it, I now get why you can modularize some guides.
Okay. Thank you. Stephanie, what about you?
I'll do the same. I'll do the modularization, but then also something I've learned today is that you could actually do that for style guides. It's something new that I've learned today. But then also to avoid the duplication, I would modularize the shared steps into one common section so that whenever any updates are done, they are able to be updated on the other files.
Okay.
But then question also,
Yep.
how do you do the modularization? So right now you have 5 Word documents or 5 Confluence pages. How do you reference to a document for it to pick that section that will be repeated, that will be duplicated?
Okay, so for example, now that we are looking at these 5 guides that all begin with the same 2 steps, it's important to get to understand the modularization process, and then try and see what each module effectively contains. For example, here we have to define the system goal, which means you have to establish the exact function that the system must perform, which means, again, you have to remove some elements of ambiguity, then now identify the core functions. So try to break the system into different rather fundamental tasks, then combine closely related tasks into a single functional unit, which means that each unit becomes a module in this scenario, and then each module now will tend to perform at least one clear function so that we can try to avoid mixed responsibilities, and then now specify what enters and exits each module, right? Yeah, so with that, it's easier for us to now establish very strict communication rules between the modules. So the interaction bit will be defined through the interfaces that we'll have created, and now that will work based on the internal knowledge that we've been able to create on other modules. So that aspect of dependency will have been minimized in the process. Yeah, I don't know if we are flowing now. Stephanie?
Yes, it is clear. Thanks.
You still have a question?
No.
You're good, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else who has a question, especially on this brain teaser? Someone? Okay. I believe the silence means we are good. This aspect of modularization, actually, when you're building systems and you realize that you want to have them some specific kinds of features in the same segment, you have to first of all check through, the performance or all the functions of every feature there, and try to, for example, when you talk about authentication, you realize you can find authentication in almost different kinds of modules. So now it's easier to be able to have it in one and try to effectively play along with it. Or maybe even a product catalog, trying to picture this out from an online shopping platform, and even the payment processing. You see, there are specific kinds of features that you don't necessarily need to have them everywhere. You can just have them in a specific section, then try and segment them out there in different layers. So that is it. Let's look at navigation now. This is where we have the TOCs, breadcrumbs, and headings. So someone might ask you, what are TOCs? I mean, you've already looked them up there. That is table of contents. So when you're navigating through any documentation, your main menu, it's very important to keep it shallow, clear, and grouped. Then now we get to the breadcrumbs. In the breadcrumbs, you have to show users their location within the site structure. For example, if you're accessing the home section, or rather when you're on the home section, you can be able to access the API documentation, can be able to help them navigate through the authentication and then the API keys. That means within the home section, they're able to access the API docs. Within the API docs, they're able to access the authentication bit. Within the authentication bit, they're able to access the API keys. So getting to have that within the site structure, or rather the location of all these users within the site structure is very important. And then we have the headings bit. Here you have to use a consistent heading structure. And a consistent one here, we're trying to picture out three different kind of headings, or headers. The first one is the page title, that is H1. Then H2 is the section headers. Then H3 is the subsection. And this element of consistency helps you to get to know the value of every header in that structure. So imagine you've just written a huge tutorial and a user jumps straight to the middle. What do they need in the headings or layout to understand where they are and what came before? So you've just written a very huge tutorial, and one of your users gets to jump straight to the middle. So what do they need in the headings or layout to understand where they are and what came before? Kathy, what do you think they need to understand where they are and what came before?
Can I think about it?
Yes, you can. You can. Let me get someone else. Stephen?
I think you can add some, like a reference link.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, whereby they can click and it can send them to the beginning or the previous or the next section of the document.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, someone else. Thank you. Let me go with Robert. Robert? So in short, what exactly does the user require here to be able to properly navigate the document? Mm-hmm. Someone would like to give it a shot?
Can I go?
Yes, please.
I believe on the document you can have a navigation structure with different titles
Mm-hmm.
and subtitles just
Mm-hmm.
to guide the user on the different elements that they want to read. So if it's a tutorial, say for example, on how to create a HTML page,
Mm-hmm.
you can have a title on overview, a title on objectives, then you can have subtitles on how to create a title
Mm-hmm.
and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So more of the table of contents.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So when it comes to this kind of scenario, the key thing is to ensure that your user doesn't struggle a lot or at all. Actually, the essence of our documentation is to help your user to effectively find it interesting to navigate through um, the document, and you need to first of all ensure that you have a very good structure when it comes to the table of content, the TOC. Um, just getting to our structure, for example, maybe the introduction bit, the environmental setup, for example, if you're trying to set up a specific web server, um, getting to maybe write the server code, running the server, testing the server. So that table of content is important. Then now you now get to the introduction bit, get focus on the purpose and maybe the outcome, then now focus on the other details like the environmental setup, how to go about it. Yeah, so in short, all you have to do is to ensure that your table of contents is structured in a very in a clear and hierarchical order, from the H1 where we have the document title, then the major section, then the subsections, that is H1, H2, H3, the way we've looked at up here, page title, section headers, and subsections. And then now we get to the table of contents where we now have to provide a full map of the document structure so that a user can identify the position within the tutorial. And then now focus on the section numbering, where if we're talking about an example, you have to provide maybe an introduction, so you have to properly number that. Maybe introduction could be number 1, maybe number 2, maybe it could be installation, right? Then when now under installation you can talk about configuring the environment. That should be like 2.1, then maybe 2.2, run the first program, where now here numbers reveal what came before and what follows. And now with that you get to continue like that, like that, like that. So you find it's easier for a reader who is able to, or rather who has been able to land in the middle, immediately understands, you know, the current section purpose, why he's there, where he is, the prerequisites, you know, and also the relationship to earlier sections, because that is also very important. And also at the back of their mind, they're able to picture out the next logical steps. What are they going to experience later as they continue reading through? And how does whatever they've been able to accumulate or rather learn connect with, you know, where they're coming from? So getting to see that height of connection helps them to propel forward easily without a lot of struggle. Thank you so much. Let's look at the user journeys and content planning. We were trying to look at a few user journey on the PRD that the Android earpods, the Apple PRDs. But most of the time you realize when it comes to the user journey, you have to think through it. Even in documentation, it's important to think through. And this is key also when designing any application, any system. You really have to think through the user journey. But again, even in documentation, it's very important. So what is a user journey? A user journey basically is a step-by-step map of how a user achieves a goal. And an example could be like this. We have a developer's journey, and here we have a sign up. So a developer gets to do a sign up. Through doing a sign up, they get to access an API key, and then I'll get to make a request. Through that, they get to handle errors and then go live, right? So they're able to plan content for each step to match the real workflows. So that user journey is a step-by-step of how a user achieves a specific goal. What do you do once you've been able to get to this step? What's next, you know? And most of the time, that is it. So you have to plan content for each step to match the real workflows. So imagine a user has done everything right, but has not been able to do something, you know. So imagine a user has done everything right except one small detail and the integration fails. What could you add to your user journey documentation to catch that one step they might miss? For those who have not been able to interact with any documentation, there's this one for Tailwind, CSS, and React.js. Let me see if I can access it here. So when maybe trying to do a setup for, I think this should be it. So let's picture out this documentation here is guiding you as a developer to set up the base to be able to build on top. Maybe you want to build a website, and you want to first of all set up your environment. And now here you are. You have to create your project. You have to install Tailwind CSS. You have to configure your template paths, and then you have to add the Tailwind directives to your CSS. You have to start your build process. You have to start using Tailwind in your project, right? So without this whole documentation, you as a technical writer, you've been tasked, or rather you've been mandated to check out what's going on with the developers. Maybe they have missed out on a specific step, and you are mandated to come up with the documentation to help them guide to guide them through the installation process of the actual technology they're trying to build. So how would you go about it? So this is just a simple documentation, and there are more. There's for Django, there's almost for all programming languages, the documentation exists out there. And this is how the layouts might look like. But then you as a technical writer might be mandated to maybe improve this documentation, or maybe try to see the challenge that the developers are facing, and how you can be able to improve this documentation to help them through that process or that problem that they're facing. So this could just be one of those challenges, and now here we are with this simple brain teaser. So how would you go about this? What could you add to your user journey documentation to catch that one step they might miss? So here you don't have to really have an exact answer, but your thought process counts a lot, because it helps us to now see how you will go about the the process, from the ground up. Someone, Will, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Yes, Will. Would you like to give this a shot?
I'd add a checklist, the user journey, and just add the summary. So yes, content is divided into the sections and the subsections, probably a one flow diagram from here to here to here. At the end, I'd include a checklist just to make sure have you done everything that's supposed to be done to get the results that you want.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Robert?
Also for me, before every aspect, or before every critical let's say event or anything,
Okay.
or a critical step,
Okay.
I would add a checklist. That is the first thing. Then this checklist, it entails all the critical steps that are required. Then after that, I'll come up with something like a use case, or flowchart diagram that indicates how the system performs. From this step, you go to this step, and you go to this step, and it shows how the information flows. So for me, I would add the checklist and something like a use case or a flowchart diagram. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there someone who will approach it differently from what Robert and Will have shared? Is there someone who has a different approach to this problem?
Maybe I can say something.
Okay.
So on the user journey, I can highlight an alternate flow. So in case something doesn't go as planned, this is what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, you can indicate the part that was missing for the integration.
Mm-hmm.
Say, for example, you're required to register a patient, but then during registration, you encounter an error 500. So I will indicate that as an as an alternate flow, that whenever an error 500 comes on, this is the reason as to why that error is happening. So that's how I'll go about it.
Awesome. Thank you. Like that too. Different approaches matter, but again, that aspect of logic really is important. So it's clear that you need to still be able to understand your users and be able to.
Question.
Yes, yes.
Is there a difference between a user journey and a use case?
A user journey and a use case. I like that. Is there someone who would like to give it a shot first?
As well as a user story. So those three: a use case, a user journey, and a user story.
Mm-hmm. Is there someone who would like to give it a shot? First of all, on the user story. First of all, someone is trying to join though late, but it's okay.
I will. Let me try this one.
Okay.
For a user journey, we've seen that this is a step-by-step map of how a user achieve a goal. But now when it comes to a use case,
Yes.
this is where you bring scenario, and in this scenario you come up with several, let me call it cases,
Okay.
or the entity that are involved in that system. For example, a user. How will the user interact with that system? Now, if the user logs in, what is the feedback that he gets? Does he get a feedback from administrator? Does he get approval from the administrator? So all these are cases. So the use case diagram, it shows the possible scenarios that can be interacted, that system can be interacted with.
Okay. Okay.
Like how you can interact with that system. Yeah.
Thank you. Robert, your network is the network good? Okay, good. Imani, are you here? Hi, Imani. So when it comes to the user story basically focuses on what the user wants to do and why, right? For example, if you're trying to maybe add a feature in a product, so the user story here will be focusing on just what the user wants to do and why. Like, why do we need this feature here, right? And now with that, it's easier to implement it. When it comes to the user journey, it's a little bit different because here you're trying to focus on the full experience of the user across multiple steps to achieve a specific goal. For example, if your goal is to enable enable farmers to access the market easily, and you want to build an app, rather a project that will effectively solve that problem. Already you've seen the end goal to that. Now your goal is to your journey, or rather your process, is to ensure that everything you're doing is connected, or rather tailored to that one end goal. And then now we have like use case. So use case, here you're trying to focus on how the system responds to user actions, including conditions, flows, and exceptions. So user story is more about need, right? And then user journey is more about experience. And now use case is all about now the system behavior. That is it. I'm not so sure if I've been able to answer your question, Stephanie.
Yeah, that's understood. So that means in a user journey, there'll be several use cases.
Yeah, so in a user journey, we expect to experience, it's like taking different parts, but ensuring that you get to achieve the end goal.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's understood. Thanks.
Okay, good. Any other question? I can see our time is over. Any other question? I would like to hear Imani. Imani, we haven't heard her voice ever since. I'm not sure if she's around here. Imani, would you like to say hi? Okay. Seems she's a little bit far from her mic. So because of time, I would like us to put a pause here and proceed from tomorrow. But I would also like to give you time to go and work on the assignment. So you can share with me the work on my email, and also I will add you all to this recording today. And I think from tomorrow now will be more handy in how we'll be doing our sessions, our classes. More and more interactions, more and more thought processes, and also we'll be looking at how you will also be doing these exercises more and more to keep yourself afloat with everything here. But in the meantime, I've been loving every session, and I would like to just get 3 feedbacks, and then we close it at 10:10. Can see we have 3 minutes to go, so I would like to get just 3 feedbacks, and then we call it a day. The first one from who? Well, I think it will be great to hear your feedback, and then we'll get to. I wish Imani was close. Imani, it will have been great to hear your feedback too. Stephanie, and then I think we'll close it up with Robert. So, well,
Thanks for the session. Picked up a couple of things useful today. Yeah, just looking forward to getting more hands-on as we go along.
Stephanie.
I learned quite a bit in terms of navigation structure. So I thought that is mainly key for the product requirements document, but I've seen it's also important in the other technical documents for the devs. So at least I've learned something new, and I will incorporate the same for my future documentation.
Thank you, Robert.
Thanks for the session. It has been good. I'll speak from the day we started, that is last week, 5th. So for me, like, I've learned several things because this is one area that I've been struggling with, especially with my boss and managers. Sometimes they want, okay, I write to them, let's say something like a report or a research. For instance, the policies that we can implement in a firewall, and it becomes very hard for me to explain to them in a manner that they can understand because they are non-technical. So it was a challenge for me, but as we speak right now, I think I'm learning something new on how I'll be telling them in a manner that they will understand. So thank you very much. And today, especially when it comes to the information architecture, I've, I've learned how to prepare my content well. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Great to hear that. And because of time, we we'll have to put a pause here. You can see it's already 10:10, so I wish you all a very beautiful night ahead of you, and catch up tomorrow, same time, same place. And if you have any questions, my WhatsApp is always open. I'm also a phone call away. Great. So all the best, everyone, and have a great night ahead of you. Cheers.
Good night.
Thank you. Okay. See, we close. Hi, Manny. Thank you, Robert. Great to hear that. And because of time, we will have to put a pause here. You can see it's already 10:10, so I wish you all a very beautiful night ahead of you. And catch up tomorrow, same time, same place. And if you have any question, my WhatsApp is always open. I'm also a phone call away. Great. So